I'm coming here today to talk to you about wheels. What wheels you should choose and how you should choose them. Let's get into it. Like usual, I have a different take on this than the current industry standard. A lot of people in the industry right now, when somebody talks about, hey, yo, I need some wheels, hey, yo, I need some bearings, people are like, here's this brand, here's this brand, here's this brand, here's this brand. Guys, ladies, anybody, my homies, boss fam, the brand is the last thing that you should be thinking about when you're picking your wheels and your bearings. The first thing that you should do is you should understand what different wheels do, what makes a quality wheel, what you need your wheels to do for the style of skating that you're going to be doing, and then you should start picking out your wheels and bearings. So let's start off with wheels. There are a lot of different types of wheels. Most wheels are made from urethane. Urethane is kind of like a plastic-like material. I honestly thought it was plastic until I watched a couple videos and I noticed that people weren't saying plastic. So there are two big factors that go into the classification of your urethane wheels. The first of these is the hardness. So hardness is measured by durometer. Durometer is something that the business guys, the business execs came up with to measure the hardness of plastic, rubber, and latex materials. The thing about durometer that I actually learned is that durometer is a scale in and of itself. It's a scale relative to itself. So different materials get different letters. And so the letter for urethane, or the one that urethane falls into, is A. Durometer is a scale that goes from 0 to 100. The lower the number, the softer it is. The higher the number, the harder it is. So if I have a wheel that is a 78A and a wheel that is a 100A, the wheel that is 78A is softer than the wheel that is 100A. Bada bing, bada boom. Something else to understand about durometer and the hardness of your wheels is that durometer only measures the outside of the wheel. Wheels are different from brand to brand because different brands have different formulas for their wheels. Some of the different parts are standardized, some things and some sizes are standardized, but when you get into the nitty-gritty of skating, there's going to be a couple different things that aren't standardized, and some of it is actually going to be marketing material. And I'm going to come back to that a little bit later. Now that we talked about durometer, let's talk a little bit about size. Your wheels can come in a lot of different sizes. Oh, most skate wheels that you're going to see are from 57 to 62 millimeters tall. And they're from around 33 to 44 millimeters wide. So let me give you a visual example of this. This wheel right here, I got it off Lazada. This is my long distance skate wheel. It is 62 by 34 millimeters. 62 meters tall, 34 millimeters wide. These are the stock wheels that came on my Vanilla Pro boot. They are 62 meters tall and they are 44 meters wide. So they are a little bit wider than my other wheels. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what that changes soon. Derby wheels, artistic wheels, and flow wheels, they're going to be about this size. Because this wheel is not as wide, it's easier to maneuver on it and it's easier to turn quickly. But this wheel right here, if I want to pivot very, very quickly, if I want to make small pivots, it's a little bit more difficult because my wheel is wider. Something else that you can do with wider wheels is they roll faster. I'm not sure if you knew, but the larger the wheel, the faster something rolls. This goes all the way up to bikes, and this goes up to cars, this goes up to everything. The larger the wheel, the faster it rolls. You look at like aggressive inline skates, the ones with the really, really small wheels, they don't roll as fast as speed skates, which have much larger wheels. And the same thing can go with your skating. You can look at artistic skates and rhythm skates with their smaller wheels, and they don't roll as fast as speed skates with their larger, fatter wheels. A second thing that wider wheels gives you an opportunity to do is it helps you corner faster at high speeds. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the races at the skating rink, but the fastest people racing are not the adults. The fastest range of racers is that 15 to 18 range, and sometimes that 18 to 30 range if you have some kids who are just gonna race with the adults. Because a lot of times, especially like at the Golden Glide, when you're in that 15 to 18 range, you're still skating your Carreras, you're still skating your speed skates. But as you get older, you transition to your rhythm skates, and the rhythm skates weren't built to corner as fast. Another thing to keep in mind with the width of your wheels. Thinner wheels make it easier to dance because it's easier to pivot on your wheels. But wider wheels make it more difficult to dance because your wheels are wider. It's easier to clip your wheels when you're moving them and you're doing intricate footwork. So a lot of times you're gonna see that rhythm skaters are gonna have stronger footwork than jam skaters because rhythm skaters are gonna be using rhythm boots in addition to the additional ankle support. They have wheels that help them support, and they have wheels that help them move their feet better. Boom. Now let's talk about the different things that hard versus soft wheels can do. A lot of times when people are talking about durometer, they'll break it down to, hey yo, if your joint is soft, take them outside. If your joints is hard, take them to the rink. But I like to break it down a little bit more and really understand what happens when a wheel is soft. What happens when a wheel is hard? So let's start off with soft wheels. Soft wheels are softer.
Oh my God! Wow!
So when you press down or when you stand on a soft wheel, the first thing that happens is it presses in a little bit. Because it presses in a little bit because of the weight and because it's more malleable, let's say you hit a rock. It might absorb the rock and help you roll over it. But if you roll over that same rock with a hard wheel, skirt, bang, your hard wheel's not gonna roll over it. It's not gonna absorb it. So because of that, it is easier and more comfortable to roll around outside with soft wheels. Another thing that soft wheels have that hard wheels don't have is soft wheels have more grip. The more points of contact that you have with the ground, the more grip your skates have. As I said earlier, when you stand on soft wheels, it presses the wheel down. So it's not always the perfect circle, or if it's less of a perfect circle. So more of your wheel is gonna be in contact with the ground, meaning you're going to have more grip. So hard wheels are harder. And as I said earlier, when you hit debris with hard wheels, your wheels don't absorb it. Your hard wheels were not created and they will not react well to hitting cracks, stones, anything. And it could really cause you to fall if you're not very, very careful when you're skating outside. However, when you take hard wheels onto the inside, they perform a lot better, especially on the wooden skate floors. Like a lot of the footwork that you see in Detroit, a lot of the footwork that you see up top is made possible because of the way that the wheels react with the floor. And even a lot of artistic spins and a lot of artistic turns. If there was more friction on your skate boot, it would be more difficult to make those twists and to make those turns. And you can even take this past the level of urethane wheels. So I haven't talked about this yet, and a lot of people actually don't talk about this. There is actually another type of skater, and there are different materials that you can get your wheels made out of. You can get wheels made out of clay, you can get wheels made out of wood, and you can get wheels made out of fiberglass. When you're skating on clay wheels, wood wheels, and fiberglass wheels, you are skating on wheels that are meant to slide. Clay wheels have about 60% grip, 40% slide. Wooden wheels have about 40% grip, and 60% slide. And fiberglass wheels have about 100% slide. And so it really just depends on how you want to skate. One of my OGs told me, I grew up skating at the Golden Glide, Killer B. He came up and he told me one day, like right when I got my 297, I'll never forget it. He said it was, what I would do is I would spend the first, I think he said month skating with them unlaced. And then I would adjust the trucks, because what you're really doing and what you're really trying to find is you are trying to find the perfect amount of turn, the perfect amount of slide for your skate. And he showed me an example. We was skating, he did a small turn and he was turning completely 90 degrees. So it's like, okay, that's how much turn he liked on his skates. That's how much turn he liked on his boots. And I think the same is really, really true for skating, for wheels. You can have an idea about how wheels work. You can have all of the science in your head. Soft, hard, thick, wide, whatever. Fiberglass, clay, wood, whatever you want. But it really, really comes down to how you want to roll and how that roll works for you. Admittedly, there are different types of wheels that are better for different situations, and there are some things that you should know. But that idea is the idea that I think is most important. I want skaters to critically engage with their skate goals and critically engage with the way that they want to skate before they make purchases. Because if you can do that, you can save yourself a lot of money. Well, let's talk about a couple different types of skating, and let's look at what the best type of wheel for each of these types of skating is. Let's start off with jam skates. So jam skating, most jam skaters skate with wide wheels around 95A. So their wheels are around 62 to 44 meters wide, 44 millimeters wide. This is wider than your average derby wheel, wider than your average artistic wheel, wider than your average flow wheel, wider than all of those. Those are the type of wheels that most jam skaters use. If you're skating in the park, I know I said outside might be better. I know I said that soft wheels are better for outdoors, and that if you hit a rock or if you hit a twig, it'd be more comfortable if you rolled over it if you had soft wheels. However, I did a little bit of research. I did some research into aggressive inline, and I talked to a couple park skaters about it. Most park skaters skate with harder wheels. The reason why aggressive inliners skate with harder wheels is because you remember when I said that softer wheels, they take on the shape and they bend down a little bit when you're skating on them. They could get caught on coping easier. And when you have harder wheels, it rolls off the coping easier. And another thing that it helps you do, it helps you corner faster inside of the park. So, since you're gonna be skating at the park with harder wheels, I would just like you to remember something that my friend and my teacher Andy always told me. The moment that you fall after the trick, it's not gonna be the trick. You're gonna fall on a stone or you're gonna fall on a crack afterwards. So be extremely vigilant, especially after you land something that you're excited about. It doesn't take a lot to throw your balance off. So you need to be super duper focused on landing and then landing in a way where you can roll away. Let's say you skate indoors, 100% skate indoors. Now, if you're gonna be skating indoors, then you should probably get the suggested hardness for your style. I know a lot of people up top, I've been talking about the All-Americans, because the All-Americans is the All-Americans, man. Like, come on, they're the All-Americans. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real for a second. They're the All-Americans. Come on, guys. They're just the All-Americans. Listen. 100% certified. 100% rank certified. But maybe you're a little bit less advanced. If you're a little bit less advanced, you might get something a little bit softer. Maybe something from the 95 to 98A to give you an opportunity to build up those skills. I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of my skaters, they're in that flow, outdoor, everything is jam skating, you know, do whatever you want, you know what I mean? Sometimes you jump, sometimes you do 180s, you know what I mean? If you're really in that space, if you're really in that place where you have a more ambiguous style, I would take a second and I would look at your lifestyle. I would look at where you're gonna skate. I'm gonna look at how I'm gonna get there. And then I'm gonna make a decision about the size of my wheel, the width of my wheel, and the hardness or softness of my wheel. California is going to be our test area. You live in NorCal, you out in the woods, it's something, you got a lot more nature around you. There's fewer skating rinks, you don't have a lot of places to skate. The place that you do skate, you skate, let's say, a half a mile down to get there through a path, and that path has some trees, it has some sticks and leaves on it. And you get down there and you usually have to sweep it a little bit to get down to your park area or your parking lot area. If I was skating somewhere like that, I would really think about it like, man, like I kind of got to skate through the elements to get there, and my hard wheels aren't really built for that. So I might choose something that might be a little bit softer but still hard if I was going to be doing a lot of park skating there. But if I was going to be doing the same thing and I was just going to go to like, hey man, I'm just going to be, you know, heading outside or just skating in this parking lot, skating in this nice clearing. It might have a little bit of debris in it, but still pretty much skating on the flat. Then I would go for something that's just straight softer, something around a 78A, because like I said earlier, you're gonna be doing a lot of rolling. You're gonna be rolling over a lot of sticks, you're gonna be rolling over a lot of twigs, you're gonna be rolling over a lot of cracks. And if you had something softer, then it's really gonna aid you with that. But still, really thinking about, what does my skate life entail? Where am I really going? And what do I really want to do? Okay, let's say your life a little bit different. Let's say you live in Southern California. Say you live in the Bay, shouts out to the Bay. You live in the Bay and you gotta drive to the skate spot. And you hang out at, I forget what, and you hang out, you skate in the parking lot with all your homies. Y'all just be skating in the parking lot. The way that you get to that parking lot is you just drive there, so you don't have to worry about skating there. And you're doing mostly dance skating in that parking lot, or you're jamming in that parking lot. Then I might pick out something that's around 90 to maybe 95A. I personally like something a little bit harder because I don't want to go for a spin outside and have a lot of grip on the floor. On the ground. I really like to have that ability to do that. But because you're going to be skating in a situation where you don't have to brave the elements as much, and you're going to be going straight to the location, and you're not driving, you're not skating to the location, you're going to drive straight to it and get past a lot of the obstacles, it'll be really, really smart. Or you could go for something a little bit harder, but still something with a little bit of softness in it in case you come up on that rock, in case you come up on that twig. And that's really the mindset I want. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you what brand to get, because I mean, the brand that you get, unless you heard something bad about it, it's pretty much the same. Like even these wheels right here, these are some Thai wheels. I pretty much got these out in like, you know, in Southeast Asia. I'm gonna test them out, see what's good with them, but a lot of times wheels are wheels. The way that it's gonna wear is the way that it's gonna wear. And I've never really had a wheel, or I haven't had that wheel experience where I'm just like, oh my God, these wheels right here. These wheels right here. The thing that has really, really affected my skate, and the thing that I paid most attention to, and the thing that changed my skate the most, has been the size of the wheel, the hardness of the wheel, and how I was going to be using the wheel. So it's really, really important that you understand that before you go out and buy the wheels. Thank you so much for coming to my video. This is everything that I had to say about wheels. If you have a question about another skate park, if you need some help, make sure you comment that down below. Also, make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell, get these notifications, because these tutorials are coming. They're coming out hot and they're coming out fast. Thank you so much. Largoin, boss fam.